Good morning. Good morning. I am ready for today. We are going to talk about networking and how it is important, not just in business, but also in life. I am going to bring Lupita on. We are going to get this party started and see what else we is having a great morning. It is Tuesday and we've had some pretty decent weather this morning. I was excited. So here she is. We are
What
ready to
just
get
happened?
started. Huh? You cut out. What did you say?
I said, how long have you been on here?
Like 90
Oh,
seconds.
okay. Because I was like, am I on the right page? What is going on? That was weird.
Yeah, I was just, I have to get on first and I don't want it to be dead air. So I was just
Yeah.
talking to our peeps and waiting for you to get on. But we are here. We are going to be talking about, I was thanking everybody for being here. Again, let me adjust my camera because my head is too big.
There it is.
Thanking everybody for being here and what we're going to talk about today, and also reminding them if you have any questions, there's a little question bubble at the very bottom with a question mark in it. Hit that and just shoot us a question that you have if you want to join the conversation. We're happy to see how we can help.
For
But
sure.
today we wanted to talk about the importance of networking, not just in business, but also just in life. And I'm sure we both have plenty of stories to share about how networking and what that really means. What is it considered, and can introverts do it? Because I always get that from people like, I'm an introvert. I don't know how to like talk to people, or I don't want to talk to people. There's different strategies and different versions. And so we want to talk about that. And again, this is a candid conversation. It's not scripted. We don't have an agenda or an outline, so it's live. So whatever happens, happens. So we encourage people to join the conversation, give us something else to talk about, and we don't know where this will go. So
For sure.
um, so let's talk about it. And I'm not sure where to start because it's such a broad topic. But one thing that I get, especially in real estate, is that if you do not like to talk to people, and this is a misconception, right? If you don't like to talk to people or you're not a people person, you won't do well in this industry.
I
I
don't believe
used to
that.
think that. I used to think that like years ago when first getting in, you have to be a salesperson, you have to be this type of personality. But I think there's so many different ways to network um, intentionally
My head's
that you
cut off.
can be successful in this industry. So let's talk about one ways. Let's talk about how. Let's first talk about where you are now in your career and how networking has leveled it up or opened it up to opportunities. And then let's talk about like how you thought about networking or what you considered networking when we first started and what did that look like?
First of all, can you hear me clearly? Okay.
Yes, yes.
Um, that's funny because I go back and think about, joining the industry. I actually, before I came into the industry, and I thought, there really like people that match. Hold on, Alexa, turn off.
You you're
Um,
you're just FYI, your internet is a little scratchy today, so
well, thank you, Shaw Real Estate.
do we need to tell Jay Shaw, can you please
Sorry
increase
about
the
that.
Wi-Fi speed? Okay, just kidding, just kidding. Okay, so you're talking about when you entered the
I'm
industry.
literally the only one with issues in this whole hub. And I'm supposed to put an Ethernet to the computer, but I haven't done that. I need to do that,
Yeah, hashtag
especially for this.
welcome to real estate where anything can happen and you may or may not have connection.
For sure. No, yeah, no. I go back to think about before I came into this industry, and I remember I was like in a whole different mindset. Right? Mom, I was struggling just to pick out outfits, just to be in front of people. So I did struggle with a lot of insecurity, much less wanting to have a conversation with complete strangers and pretending to have something to offer. It was a really hard thing to just to pretend, But I heard one day, you got to fake it till you make it. So I did my best, and I think I did okay, you know. But it wasn't super easy because I remember coming in, again, like the insecurities, all that kicked in, and I think the first year of holding my license, I didn't do jack shit. Like, there's nothing going on, but attending, you know, open houses or just networking events in the industry. As far as business was involved, no, it wasn't happening. I did have a conversation. I'm still faking it. Yeah, sometimes I still am, especially this third quarter. Like, it's not happening. And I was having a conversation with a friend this morning, and I did tell her on the phone, I'm like, I'm not going to talk about that on there, you know. But now that we're here, I feel like I should share this. I remember early on, there was, it's not as active anymore, but I don't even remember post-COVID, like, there was always something going on for us realtors. And I think there still is, but it's not so in your face, or maybe I'm just not being invited. I don't know.
Yeah,
Because,
I think you're right. I think it was more abundant back before
uh-huh,
COVID. And I used to, you know, tell new agents, if you need to eat, like, just go to any of these events that builders or title companies, anybody's putting on, because they will feed you. You will have lunch. So when you're starting out and you're like, I don't have any money for lunch, you just go to one of these events. So yes, there was always something, always something going on that you could definitely find a place to network, right? Either with realtors or even without realtors. There was always like a meetup of something.
yeah. Yeah, so we were always eating, and we were always under the influence of alcohol. It was horrible.
Yeah.
But I was telling her how I'm, you know, because she did ask me what are we talking about today, and I did tell her networking is part of it, and her opinion on it was, you know, I remember early on in all the networking that we did, and I said, yeah, me too. In hindsight, I look back now, and it was probably not very serving to me in every aspect, like in the most positive way, because, you know, being out there and putting myself out there did cost me some things, but I don't regret doing any of it. But it did also, so we look at the negative of it, but then we're also like, it did build a lot of community, because there's a lot of realtors in the industry now. I mean, I don't know how many there are in Houston now, but I was telling him, like, you know, we do know quite a little, yeah, like, we do know quite a bit of realtors, even if we don't know them on a personal level. We know them. We know who they are. We know who their broker is. We know how long they've been in the business. We've grown up with some of them, and it's so cool to see where some of them started to where they're at now. It's community, and I think that's what's important. You know, I haven't run across anybody that's been negative towards me in this industry, and vice versa. Like, I love to see other realtors growing and winning. It's such a cool thing to see.
Well, I want to transfer this because you started talking about being able to be in front of people and trying to build that confidence, and that's another conversation we can go on,
Yeah.
right? Confidence and being able to feel better about having these talking to strangers, but the actual importance of networking, how has that changed our business? And I'll give you an example. So in the beginning, you know, you're an agent and you think, I need to like be around other agents. And yes, you do. So you go and you're in the energy and you go to all these real estate networking events. And as you're in the industry, you kind of realize, like, there's not going to be an opportunity for a potential buyer or a potential seller in this room. So you start to realize but you learn there, right? You learn to network, you learn to talk, you learn to engage. And then you take that outside to other areas where now you have opportunities for potential clients. And networking has evolved and grown and leveled up my business in the way that I am just going to events that I probably would have never gone to. Like, I try to look for something that isn't in the real estate realm, because everyone's going to need to buy a house, or maybe have a business idea or need commercial. There's always some kind of real estate conversation, whether it's investing or housing or commercial, everywhere I go. So I learned that where can I have an opportunity to talk to people about this, and then what happens? And what happens is you start talking, especially if you're confident, you've gotten, yourself to a point where you feel that you can fake it till you make it or continue to fake it and build yourself up, that you're having these conversations that in a room of a totally different industry, whether it's fitness or cars or art, and you start having these conversations, and it has opened my sphere or my business up to potential clients that I probably would have never met had I not gone to those events. And maybe those events don't, like I'm not interested in it, but we always remind ourselves that this is an opportunity for us to grow our business and talk about it. It's kind of like they say, if people don't know what you do, how will they know to hire you or to work with you? And I know there's a lot of people like, oh, I don't want to be the pushy salesperson, and I don't want to go to this
Don't
event.
be.
And you have to talk. So if you're struggling, if you're an agent or a team lead or struggling to talk in front of people or talk to
Yeah.
strangers or
I'm
not
gonna
be able
get
to,
comfortable.
you have a wall, like you've got to work on that because you're leaving money on the table by not networking with people that may not necessarily need you right now, may not
Yeah.
necessarily need you right this minute, but they may know somebody that needs you. They may talk to somebody. Well, I talked to this person the other day at XYZ, and she was like, she was a wealth of knowledge or gave me good tips, and you should probably call it. And that's how it snowballs.
And I,
So
yeah.
networking in business is important. Do you have a specific experience where you say, I went to this event and by me networking with somebody I would have never put myself intentionally in front of, maybe you intentionally went to support a friend or to support a cause and it turned into a potential client? Do you have any kind of
Um, yeah,
story?
you're right. Like unintentionally, sometimes that does happen. I feel, and I also believe that whenever I least want to go to something is when I should most go to something. When I have the most success is when I really don't want to do something. I know I told you that last week and you were upset about it. When I told you to pick up the phone, I'm like, pick up the call, answer the phone. Um, and you're like, no. But I recently, what example can I give you? I mean, I went to a farmer's market, which I literally was gonna get off and buy a dozen eggs. They sell like rainbow eggs. So I was really excited to pick them up, which
Well, that's fun.
it was awesome. I mean, and I went through the whole damn thing. And by the time I realized I had already passed them up, they were gone, like completely gone.
Aw.
So,
So you
but I
missed
ended
the
up visiting.
opportunity. See, you were supposed to go, you knew you needed to go, and you missed the opportunity and you
No, no,
don't
no.
know
I'm
what you missed.
saying what I'm saying is
Oh, you
I
went back.
went just no, I went just for the eggs. So I said I'm just gonna get off and I'm gonna get the eggs and I'm gonna leave. But there was so much to offer and so many people that I decided, but I messed up because walking in, I didn't see that the eggs were like the first stop. So I passed them right up. So by the time the thing was over, or I went, like they were gone. Anyways, that was an unexpected event because I ended up having conversations with almost every vendor, and I was there for like an hour and a half. It wasn't just let me see your stuff and your product.
Wow.
So I made a lot of connections, and that was so funny because I was super grateful that it was like super happy to receive everyone's conversation, where typically I may not want to or I don't feel like it. But it was such positive vibes, and I did meet a lot of people, made some good connections, and that's a really good opportunity because you do a lot of collaborations. You know, there was like a guy there that does woodwork, and a lot of times, am I lagging or are you lagging?
Who knows?
I see you lagging. You look funny.
I see you lagging. So
Oh,
let's
so
lag
it's both
together,
of us.
guys. No
Ah.
idea.
So yeah, you know, made some connections with some of the vendors, and some of those vendors sometimes they have products that can help us with our clients, and so that was pretty cool connection. Um, some other unintentional ways to connect have been through the kids' sports, through softball. Met a lot of parents through their school, and you know, just really random stuff. In Galveston, I ended up through just visiting like the Strand, I met a client there, met her at a bar, and then she was just like hanging out, and you know, she was doing karaoke.
The most
And
famous place for us to get clients, guys, I'm just
the
going to
bar.
say, is always the bar, whether it's in a
It's always the
hotel
bar.
or walk in. I mean, it's the most casual place that we can just talk about
This is
anything, go
true.
up to a
Oh,
stranger, even if you're not drinking or you don't drink,
mm-mm.
order a sparkling water. I don't care. That is really the place where people feel a little bit easier to like talk to a stranger.
Yeah.
So if you're not using a bar as a place to pick up clients, it does work.
A lot of good stuff comes from them sometimes, it's not always bad. But yeah, I mean, that was one example. And I think just really putting yourself out there for random events is so good. And then connecting them on social media. I used to be like really anti-friending everyone too. I'm so weird. I feel like there was like this wall I had up I was trying to protect, and now I'm like, yeah, add me on Facebook, add me on Instagram, everybody, I'm like, what's the worst that can happen.
Well,
But
here's the thing, especially in this industry, or especially in um,
yeah, I'm sure you did too. I immediately thought of you.
yeah, I think especially in this industry and being a salesperson, you need to let those learn to let those walls down, protect what you need to protect personally, but you have to be willing to ask the questions and engage in conversation with other people. That's the only way you're going to know how to help them, right? I'm
Mm-hmm.
always like, my husband is opposite. When we were out, he's very good at, adjusting to the environment. I don't have to baby him or anything. He can handle himself, but I'm just like, I dig, and I'm like asking those deep questions from the beginning.
You
I
are.
just want to know about people. I'm just curious. Having the curious bug in every time you meet people, draws out more information. You know how to help them, or maybe you connect them with somebody else, and that's what networking is about, right? It's just a hub, and you connect different people or different things. And I love it when people come to me and like, hey, do you know anybody that does XYZ? Maybe I have never helped them with real estate. Maybe I haven't, known them that long, but I'm
Real
always trying to
estate.
provide value.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, I actually do.
Yeah. It's not always about real estate. It's really, you're right, about providing value, being that resource. I think that's actually the way to put it, as being like the most resourceful person in the room. And actually that's exactly what I try to be with my clients, is a problem solver and the most resourceful realtor that they'll ever meet. And it has proven to be pretty handy.
So some people want to know, how can introverts or shy individuals network effectively? Do you have any tips? Because I mean, I have never been shy in my life, so I don't know what that looks like. Um, if anybody like has uh, other strategies, like I really think shyness and introvertness just comes from past programming on how we grew up or how we thought our personality is to be, because we as humans, we like need to connect with people, like we have to. That's like part of the, us living and breathing. And so I don't know what an introvert feels or what a shy person feels. I try to help them change their mindset on how they view it.
Yeah.
But have you been, or were you previously shy or
I
introverted
mean,
or?
back to the part about, your insecurities about, are you really worthy of being a realtor? Are you even in the same game as a realtor? Or, you know, can I be good? Am I going to be able to provide for my clients? And I guess if I had to give some piece of advice, it would be, depending on your introverted lifestyle situation, right? Even if you're not introverted, I always say, or I used to pretend like I was hella broke, and that was my motivation. Like, if I don't do it, somebody else is. If somebody else is. If I don't follow up with them, someone else is. And so that's kind of what pushed me to get out of my comfort zone and get out of my own way and stop myself from talking myself out of meeting people and having conversations and really changing my mindset about it. And that's basically what I would say. If you don't do it, somebody else will. You're gonna miss your opportunity.
Right.
So stop bullshitting.
And I think that if you have challenges being able to talk to people, I'd say get a personal speaking coach or public speaking coach or somebody that can help you work through those limiting beliefs or scared, fearful tactics that
Yeah.
you think going to an event and what's the worst that are going to happen? They walk
At the end
away.
of the
They tell
day,
you they don't talk to you.
at the end of the day, that's what it is. It's fear and we're constantly. And I think one of the cool things, I'm just going to address new agents is, finding another new agent who's going through the ringer like you are, and you guys kind of feed off of each other, and also like someone that you aspire to be like, or that inspires you, or that is doing better than you. Because I know there's one thing that I learned a long time ago is never do something that, never follow someone that's not doing better than you are. So that was a big thing, and I used to remember seeing what are they doing out there, or how are they doing business? And I mean, just copy the system. Why would you want to reinvent the wheel? I remember I used to copy you on a lot of stuff.
I'm
Oh
trying to
no.
switch my Wi-Fi on and off, guys, because I have no idea what's going on with it. Today's just, I guess Technology
Can
Tuesday. It
someone
doesn't
tell
want
us in the comments if like y'all can see us clearly? Because
to
I
see us
can hear
clearly,
you
hear
too.
us clearly, because we're clearly in robot status.
Not
But
clear.
it's fine. We got to keep going. I want to talk about that, but I love that you said you copied me on a lot of things because I learned from other people. Like
Mm-hmm.
I would go, like I'll tell you one thing about networking. I had a friend, and she never understood why I always connected with people. Like if she brought me to an event or she brought me somewhere, um, I would be like, hey, like let's keep up and give me your number and like that. And she didn't understand that because to her, because she wasn't not in this industry and she was in a different mindset, she was thinking like, why are you always trying to take my friends, or why are you always trying to talk to people, or why, like in her mind, because I'm totally in a different mindset. And I'm just like, hey, I don't know what this relationship would be. I don't know if I could help them. I don't know. They may need something. In my mind, it was always just open. I'm like always like, hey, how can I help? How can I help? How can you help me? Maybe you know somebody that I know, and connecting the dots. And that's how I was. And she didn't understand it. So she didn't scold
Appreciate it.
me for it or anything, but she didn't understand it. And it took her till like maybe a year ago. And I think, she started working through some things with herself, and you start learning different things about how to grow personally. And then she's like, I get it now. Like, I get it. I understand why, like, you would do that. And it wasn't like bad intentions. And I was like, no, I clearly am always just like, I don't know how this person, why we're meeting. There may be a reason why we're crossing paths. I need to talk to you. Clearly, I don't believe in coincidences. So there's a reason. I don't know why. It may never be. But
Yeah.
that's one thing about networking that I realize. I have gotten a lot of new friends. I've gotten to meet a lot of great people. I've made new friends. I've made two new business contacts. I've received new clients. I've helped my husband get business because I'm the networker in our relationship. He's really good at doing what he does and sells for his business, but I just know how to connect with people on a different level, so I can warm them up, be human contact, start to find out what their pain points are, and then like what they do in their life and how many kids. And I love to have those conversations because I just enjoy being curious about other people's
You're
lives, and
nosy.
maybe I can learn something from them. And then I just kind of pass it to him. I kind of like set it, and he spikes it with whatever his message is, the technical part of his business, and that's how we tag
Yeah.
team. I know how to do that in my business. And if it ever goes the wrong way or doesn't result in something, I take responsibility because I'm like, how did I approach this conversation? How was my energy? How was, how was I regulated? Was I looking for the deal? Did I have a different expectation? Because it was always how, but if I came genuine, just wanting to be curious, wanting to know about that person, I usually made a friend or a client or someone that, maybe comes to me later on down the road. So, people don't understand that. Like, I don't know, felt weird going and talking to a stranger. And I'm like, I mean, we're all strangers until we're not, right? I mean,
Yeah,
um,
for sure.
use the opportunities you have around you. So if people invite you, and I'm not saying, we got to keep boundaries, we got to know our time limits, we got to, be strategic. But if somebody invites you to something and you're like, I'm really don't want to go, always keep an open mind. Like, again, unless time constraints and your boundaries and you clearly don't enjoy being around this person or whatever. But if you get invited to an event, always look at it as an opportunity to just like meet one person. Because in real estate, we're always prospecting. We're always trying to find people to add to our sphere, add to our database, add to our CRM, and it's really just people that we connect with. And nowadays, it's so much easier. We don't have to carry business cards. You can if you want to. People risk losing them, throwing them in the garbage, falling out of the pocket, falling out of the purse. But these days, we have digital business cards where you can connect with them immediately. You can exchange information. They can follow you on socials. Like, networking is so much easier because now we have a digital way to network, right? How many friends do you have on Facebook from just networking and reaching out or being in the same group or knowing somebody that you actually haven't maybe met in person? And I have
A
a ton of
lot.
people. So when I meet them in person, they're like, oh yeah, we're friends on Facebook. And I'm like, and unfortunately, I don't know every single
It's
person
like
in my
real.
Facebook, but I'm glad we are.
Yeah.
Um, let's talk, and I think there's a way that introverts, if you're an introvert or somebody that's trying to master networking or like having those impromptu conversations, start online, message people. So it's kind of like, hey, how
I
are
think
you? Just like, I really love your content. I really love X, Y, and Z. I'm really trying to get into fitness. I really love you have dogs. Like, there's a way to communicate with people and engage and network via the socials and online than just having to go to events. So
I think
let's,
amazing skills of socializing that keeps people from, engaging. Because I'm thinking back like to my kids and what I teach them now, and some people might not grow up with those social skills or have never even heard of them, don't know how to be social. So I empathize for them because all you got to do is just really learn. It does take practice. Like, example, making eye contact, firm handshakes, knowing how to enter a conversation, knowing how to exit a conversation. Because sometimes you can, a lot of people are afraid how they're going to come off. Am I going to come off too aggressive? Am I going to come off weak? Am I going to come off like rude? Am I going to be too nice? So they're afraid of what kind of impression they're going to make. All those things can really set them back from, just engaging. The social is probably another big, you have to practice with when it comes to networking. So, because you're awkward all the time. Can you hear
well,
me?
yeah, I mean, it's laggy. Again, I don't know. It says they say we're both laggy.
But
So
they said
at this
they can
point,
hear us. Can you hear me?
yeah, we can hear you, but it's,
Oh,
it sounds it's like a robot. I mean, I don't know what to do at this
I
point because
can
I've
hear you.
gone off of Wi-Fi, gone on Wi-Fi. I have no idea. But
Okay.
the show must go on.
For next time, I'm for sure gonna have an Ethernet plugged in.
But
Did you hear me?
you hit on some key things because I think
Thank you,
we want to talk about
Daisy.
what are the key principles of effective networking, and you just said it, like, yeah, firm handshake, coming genuine. I think that coming into the conversation genuine, I think some of the mistakes that we make is trying to be something or be someone we're not, and that throws the whole conversation off. Just come in genuinely, even if you're a little scared, like you can even be honest about that. Sometimes like, hey, I'm new here. I've never been to this event, or, so-and-so invited me. Like having real conversations is a one way to like kind of get over the fear, because you kind of break the ice. But if you start coming in like either egotistical or super, super skittish, where you're like, I don't know anybody, and or you come in like big energy and you're not, like, people are going to feel it. They're going to be repelled by it, and you're not going to effectively be able to have meaningful conversations. So one thing that when I get new real estate agents that come in and they're like, well, I don't have a network, I don't have a sphere, I mean, I only have, a family member here, or like, I don't know how to start it from scratch. And I know that can be intimidating, but like the way you begin is just like literally one bite at a time, one event at a time, one Starbucks line. You're in the Starbucks line and somebody in front of you, and maybe you share like, hey, like, what are you getting today? Like, I mean, literally it can be anything, and it doesn't have to always have an end result. Don't always have to make a connection. You don't always have to get a phone number. You don't always have to get a client. The idea is just talking. It also helps educate yourself, and you get to practice. And so the more practice you get, the better you get at something.
Yeah. Eventually it's going to become second nature, and it's going to slow down the anxiousness, the urge to be in the, be a presence in the room. You're just going to show up and are in the room. Daisy's asking, could you touch on what conversation pointers we could use when networking with other agents?
So I think if you're going to network with other agents, you can always ask them, when did you get licensed? How long you been doing this? Are you with a team? Are you solo? Like having conversations, just genuinely want to know, what do what are you doing to grow your database? How many open houses do you do? It's like, if that's what you want to know, wherever you are in your business and you have questions about certain things, ask those questions to them.
Yeah.
Because either they're going to be on the same page with you, and you're like, hey, I'm looking for those answers too. Like when you find out, let me know. And now you have somebody to like talk to, and like, hey, I found somebody that knows X, Y, Z. Why don't you follow them? Why don't we listen to them? Like, that's how you have the conversation. So pointers is just, I mean, when you're at an event, say you're at a real estate event, which they have them all the time, right? You have open houses at new construction. You have brokers open houses. You have CE events. You have just birthday parties or events for brokerages, and you're invited. Like the idea is just to, elevate each other. One thing that was back when I first started, people just, it was like, you didn't want to be friends. You didn't want to like share your tips. You didn't want to share
Yeah,
your
no,
successes.
that's not it
You,
no
you,
more.
you wanted to gatekeep in the beginning. Like, and I didn't understand that. I'm like, how am I supposed to be better, especially in my brokerage and the team that I was in? How am I supposed to be better if nobody's going to share with me? I got to go figure it out on my own. What's the point of being on a team? What's the point of having a brokerage? And that's how it was in the beginning when I started in 2006, 2009, even up until 2011. And then somewhere, especially with social media, it was like, hey, the idea is for all of us to win. It doesn't matter. There's a nail shop on every corner in every city, and everyone is doing well,
There's
I'm
room for
sure.
everybody.
So share. And one thing I've been learning from all the books that I read, and that's over and over again, is the more that you share, the more that comes back to you. So ask agents, if you're at an event, like, hey, like, have you been to this community before? Are you working with this company? Are you like, it's so easy. Like pick like 3 main starter questions that you could go into every event with that are general enough, whether it's real estate related, and then you can have your 3 main real estate related starter conversation points, and then maybe 3 non, and just go use those every single time. And it just kind of opens up the conversation, so then it'll flow whichever way it needs to flow.
Yeah, for sure. I think one of the other, what are you doing to grow your business right now? And really what I mean by that is, how are you lead generating? Because there's always some innovative idea, and you know, they have their niche. How do you say niche? I can't say the word. Good.
Niche, whatever.
I
Potato,
can't talk today.
potato.
Yeah, have their things that they do specifically, and sometimes I think I'm like, oh my God, seriously, that's so smart, it's so easy. I could do that, and then I immediately implement it, right? And then that's always what I'm curious. I'm like, how are you growing your business? You mentioned reading books. I think there's one book that I would probably recommend, and I'll put it in the comments when you re-upload it. But there's a book called How to Win Friends and Influence People. And I read that a long time ago. I probably need to skim through it again or just follow it on TikTok. But I highly recommend that book. You read it front and back. And it's definitely to change your mindset on community and people, and just people in general. There's a lot of psychology behind it. And the other thing I really think is good when you're building community is to listen. Nobody likes to hear this out of their own voice. So I think listening to others and what their needs are and where they are right now, that's definitely like the biggest tip for networking.
I just saw this something yesterday, and he said, stop thinking about the next question you're going to ask while they're talking. If you just listen, like you're asking the question, hey, what are you doing to increase your business? If you're already thinking like, I'm going to ask them, like, do they use this? If you're already thinking of the next question without listening to what they're saying, you're missing a lot of the information.
Absolutely.
So I think we're so we worry about, like, I want to seem like I know what I'm doing, and I want to seem professional, and throw that out the window. You will be professional. It will come. It will happen. It will organically happen. You just need to get the information. You need to be true to yourself. You need to educate yourself on what you need to educate. And she talked about books. I have a whole highlight section on my Instagram of books, all the audiobooks that I've read, and I continue to keep adding to it. There's some that are personal development. There's some that's business development. I don't have anything that's just like relaxing and fun. It's going to be one or the other. But there's a lot of stuff in there. Never Split the Difference is a great one if you're trying to learn, how to leverage your experience in this business, how to, have those conversations with clients. But I'm interested. I haven't heard of the one that she's talking about, so I'm going to put it on my list in my Audible. Get started on that immediately, because I'm always like, what can I learn? What nugget am I going to grab from this today? So, yeah, I think we touched on a lot.
We did, but I don't think we touched on the most in-space work that exists right now, which is social media. What's been your experience with social media and networking?
I personally do not get a lot of clients from my social media, and I'm sure that's because I'm not as consistent on it. I am an in-person person. I feel that I do better when I'm in front of somebody. I can have a genuine conversation. I can read the room. I can read them. I understand body language. And I work on energy. So I know that I want to connect more with people on social, to let them know that I am just as the way that I am on social that I am in person. But I connect more in person. And so when we talk about that, right, like, there's not one size fits all. There's some people I know that do great. They like to sit there for hours and just engage with people on a text message, on a social media message. And, and that, I know they've done great. They've expanded their network. They've not, 50% of their business comes from social.
Yeah.
I do better in person. So that's why I like going to places, going to events, because I'm in front of the person already. That's one of our steps in getting a client, right? So if I can get in front of them, and now I can have that conversation, that genuine conversation, and build rapport, for me, that's that, and I'm there in person, so I can, get their contact information. That for me works the best. But social media is an untapped space that I am trying to
I
slowly
mean, I think you're
really dive
missing it
into.
because you're basically building community just by doing this live.
Yeah. This is really new to me
Seriously.
too, right?
I
Like
mean,
we've
this
talked
was
about it and it
part of,
sounds like a good idea, but how some people are fearful or have a problem talking to people, in person. I too struggle with, talking to myself on a video. It's better with you here, right? Like we can have this conversation, it flows.
yeah,
But if I was to do
yeah.
this alone, I struggle with talking to a camera, talking to a phone. So I got
It
to get
is,
over that,
it
right?
is odd because you actually speak to yourself alone at any point in time. I don't think so, right? That's weird. No, but I think this is building community. I mean, that was the initial goal and vision for this was just to build community of consumers, of realtors, of just people in general, and entrepreneurs, women. That's community to me, and
Absolutely.
hopefully, you know, deriving from all of this. Well, I don't know if you have anything else to touch on, or like, did we miss on another source for community? Also, just
I mean, I
networking
think
in your community is
people,
like a big thing.
yeah, I think people miss the opportunity 80% of the time because they're not even taking the shot, right? They're going to miss it.
Mhm.
Um, and I say that because events, maybe you're like you said, when you really feel like don't doing something with not doing something or going somewhere, it's probably the time that you should. And
Yeah.
I believe that because something good has always happened after you've taken that step. Whether, hey, I had this potential
Hmm.
client, or hey, I just felt good to be able to share a resource or connect them with somebody. I love talking to people when I'm either with clients or other agents, and we start talking about, financial security or, things that we did to like use real estate to get us out, and we that conversation flows, and I'm like, hey, let me introduce you to so and so, let me connect you with my financial planner, let me connect you with the trust attorney, let me connect you with, a builder or an investor, like creating the community of just like being a place that people could call me and be like, hey, do you have somebody that does this, or do you know somebody that does this? 90% of the time I have somebody in somewhere that I can reach out to. There's been a
Yeah,
couple of
being
times when
the
people ask me and I don't have an answer for them.
that's what I mean. That's what I pride myself on is just being the resource. I want to be the resource for anything. It just doesn't have to be real estate. Um, did you do something different? Because your hair looks good.
I took a shower and blow dried it before I got on this call.
It looks good. That looks really good.
Thank you. It's really
Yeah.
getting long. I don't know. I feel like I want to cut it to your length. I've struggled with that conversation. Long
Yeah.
hair.
Do you have
Okay, we're getting
any?
off topic, but long hair is kind of a pain in the butt sometimes when you got like places to go.
I just decided to let it grow out. Me, Blue, my youngest, she has short hair like me, so we just pinky promised 2 days ago, like we're gonna let it grow out for the rest of the year. See
So
what
we're
it takes
talking
us.
about hair. I want to switch gears because being at the hair salon is a place that I've networked unintentionally. My daughter does hair, so shout out to Analia Garza. If you guys need hair, she's in the city. She's amazing with color, and so anyways, I'll tag her too. But when I'm there, the people that come through the salon, and she'll kind of tell me like who's who, and then like I appreciate the opportunity to like have conversations with the owner of the salon. I have conversations with her. I've seen her at other events, and so like there's a networking opportunity that where people can know what I do, I know what they do, and they may, we may be able to cross paths or have or be resources for each other. So I just wanted to throw that out there. Like there's an opportunity at your fingertips every minute of the day. Even if you sit in your house all day long, I promise you, There's a way you can call somebody. There's a way you can message somebody on Instagram. Again, we're talking about the socials, but there's an opportunity every minute of the day if you just go about your day and use that
Yeah,
opportunity to network.
for sure. Are you
So we didn't talk about
going for
how it
any?
helped your life, right? We talked about business, and we'll just spend the next 5 minutes or so
Okay.
on lifestyle. Um, for life, I would say I'm always looking for meal prep, meal plan, anything health related, anything that can help my life, right? So recently, I was like, I really need to cook dinner every day because I don't have the time, but I also don't enjoy it. So I was like, let me look for, somewhere that I can get meals that I don't have to drive so far, have it delivered. And met somebody out. I don't remember where I was. Met somebody and she was like, yeah, I just opened this meal prepping company and it's here close to the house. And I was like, well, that's amazing because I need somebody and I don't want to drive to My Fit Foods and I don't want to have it delivered and this is on the way. And so I wouldn't have known, I wouldn't have known that that's what she was doing had I not been wherever I was at. That helped me, right, in life. I met somebody through you as well, through other friends, therapists and people that I was like, hey, I want to go to somebody because hey, therapy, we need to like normalize it. It's necessary. And so it's better when I'm like talking to somebody about something and they refer me somebody that I can use for that. So many other different things life wise that I'm like, hey, that's pretty good. Fitness person, a gym, things like that. So networking has helped not just in business to grow your business, but it kind of like intertwines with each other,
Yeah.
I would say. And my daughter is great at it because she's in hair, and when you're sitting hair, she's like, "Hey, I met this lady and she does this, and you should connect with her." Or I know this one of my clients does this, and you need to follow them. And so she's really good also about connecting me with people, and then just when I'm in her salon. So I think um, the importance of networking has so many benefits than what we talked about, and I probably didn't hit on half of them. Um,
So
and I think that
I gotta tell you a
finding the
story.
way to be effective is key.
I gotta tell you about networking. I mean, I guess you could say it was networking. Not a good situation, right? But it was good overall, I guess. I had someone who was in a like situation, like legal stuff, right? And we had to call the authorities. So when they show up, the people, the constables, the police officers, um, one of the gentlemen is like, uh, Lupita Reed, and I was like, yes. How do you? Who are you? And he's like, oh, well, I follow you on social media. He's like, but I've also spoken to you on the phone. He's like, I called you on one of your listings. And I'm like, no fucking way. That is the craziest shit ever. So I'm here, like, filing a police report. And then the police officers are like, we know who you are. I
The
know who you
police
are.
officer's like, I'm a fan. Can I get an autograph?
No, it wasn't like that at all. But it was so cool because I I'm not saying anything negative about police, but I feel like maybe the outcome would have been different had I not known who he was. Everybody was so helpful, and it was a pretty big deal. And they really took the time to, I guess, educate me on what was going on and XYZ. But it was such a cool experience to have someone remember who I was, and it was through networking, through community.
And he's probably going to call you when he's ready to purchase because,
No, no,
he's met you now in person.
so he told all the constables, like, I thought, weren't you gonna buy a house? You need to call her. Y'all all need to talk to her. She's amazing and this and that. I was like, okay, cool. I am the realtor for the constables, by the way.
There you go. That took a life situation that wasn't the best life situation and turned it into a possible
Yeah,
business opportunity. Again, that's why I was saying, like, there's opportunities every day,
yeah.
every day. So networking is a must. If you are a new realtor, if you're an old realtor, if you're seasoned, if you're a team lead, if you're a broker, like networking is the thing that you need to do, not just for your business, but also in life. So, yeah, I think we've touched on a lot. If anybody else has joined and has a question or wants to make a comment, like I'm grateful if you do, and I think we can kind of wrap up on what's some inspiration or some motivation we can give everybody for the week.
There's a quote that I guess I could share that I hear all the time, and I never really like thought about what it means, but they always say your network is your net worth.
Mm-hmm.
So I gotta get it more.
So, do you want A players in your network? Do you want B players in your network? And not to say that sometimes you need a mixture,
You
but
need
for
them
that
all.
saying, your network is your net worth. And if you are not networking, like she said, with people that are doing more than you, that are where you aspire to be, then you're not going to get as much information, education, or inspiration that you could. So let's.
So get out there and do it, because if you don't do it, somebody else will.
I love that. I want to leave on that, and that will be the quote for the day. Your network is your net worth. What does that look like? Where do you need to make changes? How can you elevate that? And yeah, I think that's where we can stop. But it
All
was
right.
great. We look forward to seeing you guys next week. Don't know what the topic's going to be, so you'll find out on Monday, like we all do.
Seriously, if you guys
Um,
have anything that you want to touch on or just have a conversation about, let us know. Send us a DM. We'd be happy to share.
yeah, give us feedback, give us topics. We can talk about anything. I think there'll be a couple of times we might just get on here and be like, it's free day. We're going to talk about whatever comes to mind. But I think
Yeah,
for the most part, I think having some kind of topic gives us gives you value, gives us an opportunity to give you value. So,
for
well, I
sure.
appreciate everyone, joining us. Again,
Oh
follow
my
us,
God, I can't. We're
share.
gonna get off, but I cannot believe we didn't even talk about Drake in Houston. It just,
Oh,
he announced it at his concert, and I'm like, everybody's probably wondering who this realtor is. Like, she's coming up. I can't wait to hear about it.
yeah, when we find out, we've got to post it.
Yeah,
Well, he may even they may want to keep it hush hush. They may have an NDA, maybe have a privacy. Who
yeah,
knows? But at some
yeah.
point, we will find out.
I'm not
So
looking here
if
and
you
tell them
know who Drake's realtor is and where he's going to be living, I think it'd just be a fun fact.
for sure.
Which great. Now that means everybody's going to move to Houston. Which means if you're watching this and you're moving to Houston, you know who to call.
All right, bye, Kim.
All right, bye guys.